Sometimes the client goes into a partnership with the mindset, all right, like I want a couple of publications. The most important thing is just to create the demand to solve a problem and create sales. People need to actually work around or to figure out is how to create that demand, how to create these sales. The rest you figure out, otherwise you're not really an entrepreneur. You know, a lot of PR agencies are now like integrated marketing agencies as well. They do everything.
The value proposition of Cameo Comms is something called performance PR, right?
Yes.
Unlike Ghazala, I don't come from a PR background. Can you explain what is performance PR?
Yes. So performance PR in a very simple way is a PR model which allows clients to pay only for coverage secured.
Mm-hmm.
So if the client doesn't secure any coverage with us, they don't pay us anything. It's a very results-oriented approach to PR.
And would you say Cameo Comms is sort of a startup?
Well, to be honest, we have been around for a while. We've been around for 5 years. I launched Cameo 5 years ago. So it's not technically a startup anymore. But this idea of performance PR is new. We launched it around 6 months back. So in that sense, it is a startup.
Okay. And I would imagine, like, as any entrepreneur would go, you would, maybe not now, but sometime later, you would have something like an exit strategy, right?
Not necessarily. We might look into it in the future. We have gotten a lot of interest from investors, to be honest. A couple of investors have shown interest, but it's not something we're looking at anytime soon.
And would it be fair to say that because it's a success-based metric, your revenue is really dependent on success, right? Wouldn't it cause like I'm coming from a purely finance concept, right? Like, wouldn't it cause a lot of troubles with your cash flows? Like, how do you manage cash flows if everything is performance oriented?
Yeah, it's definitely a risk for sure, because you're not, well, first things first, you're not charging a retainer anymore. So if we go back a little bit, the traditional PR model is retainer based. An agency will charge a client a specific retainer, maybe 6,000 up to 20,000, let's say even more, some agencies, a month for a range of services. And, it includes copywriting, account management, media coverage, amongst other services. And that payment is secured for the agency. With us, when we go and we launch something called performance PR, we're saying, okay, we're not doing retainer work anymore. So it's definitely a big risk. We're not having that safety anymore. But I would say it's more of a volume game. So for us now, it's more about working with more and more clients, smaller ticket clients, but at the same time, optimizing on these sales, marketing a lot more so we can close more sales. Yeah.
And to my understanding, right, probably coming from a very newbie, amateur level of understanding, PR and marketing are very different things, and PR would involve a lot of press releases, editorial coverages, and things, right? And we are seeing a market where nobody's picking up a newspaper. Not a lot of people are visiting like your tier one publications like your College Times or Gulf News, or even like it's very, what do you say, like a lot of social media is in place, a lot of things are there, and the old media or the traditional media that we used to know is kind of dying.
Yes.
Right. So in this sort of an environment, do you not think like it's extremely risky in the sense that you're guaranteeing cover, not guaranteeing, like your revenue is dependent on coverage.
Yeah.
Right. And while the companies that you're promising coverage with, or like you're saying you'll get coverage with, is moving to a very commercial approach of, hey, you pay and pay gets you an ad plus maybe an editorial, right? From a, again, amateur level, it feels like there's a disconnect, right? How do you tackle that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. We don't pick up a newspaper and read the news anymore. Like I personally don't do that. Unless I'm getting my hair done at a hair salon, I pick up like a magazine, of course, because it's more of a lifestyle kind of thing. So in specific scenarios, people do read the magazines, they do read the newspapers. A lot of people still have the, Khalij Times newspaper delivered to their doorstep at home,
I still have it done. I
Exactly.
just never touched it. It's in my coffee table.
Yes, I'm sure your parents do though.
No, they don't.
No?
No, absolutely not. It's just there. Like,
Yeah.
you know what happens to the College Times newspaper? It comes to our home.
Yeah.
It piles up. And then when we run out of like these table mats for our dining table,
You use
that's when
it.
the college times comes out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. Print is a little bit dying, okay. But we do a lot of online coverage as well, websites, social media, all of these popular magazines, they all have social media now. What's on, Time Out, they have TikTok, they have Instagram. All of that is something we cover.
Mm.
In fact, with print, most of the work that we're doing is online. It's not really print because print takes like a month. It's not as quick as a workflow, and we're all about efficiency and speed. So for us, the average life cycle for each client is like 3 weeks.
Mm.
So for us to do print, it's with Vogue Arabia, for example, or something like that, it ends up coming out after the client has finalized the project. So for us, we definitely prefer doing online.
Yeah. And this is again like I'm seeing like a lot of radical ideas here, right? Like moving away from traditional media slowly, performance based and everything. For you to take that risk, you should have seen something wrong with the traditional PR model, right?
Yes.
What was that? What was your tick to say that, hey, something's wrong here?
Good question. So honestly, I was having the same conversations over and over again with clients, and they didn't necessarily have to be clients. Some of them would be prospective clients or people I would go to pitch business to. But really, the conversation that struck with me was a client saying, I've just onboarded this other agency. I'm not happy with their work. I signed them up for 6 months. Month end, I don't have any of the coverage that I wanted. So, sometimes the client goes into a partnership with the mindset, all right, like I want a couple of publications, right? I want coverage on X, Y, and Z. Come month end or even retainer end, they still haven't seen those exact publications that they wanted. I understand, sorry. Now I understand that a lot of PR agencies will, work on a volume kind of way. So, we send out the press release and you're going to get a lot of different coverage pieces. Some will be great, some not so much, some will be tier 1, some will be tier 2, and that's fine. But it's not okay that the one publication that the client asks for from day one is not achieved by the end of the retainer. There's something wrong with that. That's not ethical. It's not honest. It's not transparent. A PR agent should from day one say, okay, based on my experience, we haven't been able to organically reach this specific publication. They shouldn't keep it ambiguous and hide it within a couple of other links or say, all right, we'll see. We have to reach out and see later. No, because I'm sure you're going to gauge whether or not you can secure it for your client. You have been doing this for quite some time. So there is a lot of room for more transparency, more fairness, just, more honesty when it comes to running the whole PR activities.
And I think today I asked Ghazala, hey, can I take this on? Because I feel like we've had a lot of people working in PR come on the podcast and everything. And what Ghazala probably never asks, because she's from the field, is that the PR agents or like the company or the agency promises a coverage, right? Hey, you'll get 2 or 3 tier 1 coverages. Now, why would a tier 1 publication actually cover, right? Like, what is the value proposition for them to do it for free or do it for a price? What is that thought process for, say, your College Times or your Gulf News?
Yeah, there are many reasons, right? One of them might be that the client has a really good profile. The other might be that the news is very hot, or very relevant to the audience of the publication. So we'll get more eyeballs, right? It's going to be something that the audience is going to enjoy. Because at the end of the day, it's not really a news outlet unless they're reporting on news. They can't just feature everything that's been paid. They have to also talk about what's new, what's in, what's trendy, what people want to see as well. So these are the two main reasons, I would say.
And how does the entire process work? Hey, there is something trendy. I know a journalist working on this particular piece. What happens from your end? How does that workflow happen?
So it's a very, very simple and straightforward process with us. We onboard the client. We do the bare minimum necessary so that we can actually pitch for coverage. The client briefs us on the announcement or whatever news angle they want us to work on. We draft the necessary collaterals. And then the client is charged per coverage piece. Okay. So we send out the press release to all our connections. And based on how much coverage the client gets, let's say the client gets 2 links, one is tier 1, one is tier 2, the client will only be charged for these 2 links.
And I'm coming from a very nihilistic perspective. Like I'm the type of person who thinks everything will fail and everything will crumble.
Love that for you.
Thank you.
It's not a good mindset to have.
No.
No. You'll tell me about it shortly.
Yeah, but I'm just coming from the perspective, what happens if you failed, right?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'm not going to lie, there have been projects where we weren't able to secure, all the publications that the client wanted, and it is what it is. This is the nature of PR. You never really know what the editor is going to say before you pitch to the editor. This month, I might be able to get Cosmo. Next month, they might say no to me. It depends on so many things. The media themselves are leaving, every couple of months they're leaving, they're changing jobs, they're changing roles. So there is no guarantee in PR. It is what it is. So for me, honestly, when it comes to performance PR, because there is no guarantee, I think this is how all agencies need to be operating, at least from a coverage perspective.
And in the case that you weren't able to successfully get a publication, right? As a business owner, you have bills, you have people to pay. What happens in that case? How do you plan for that? Like, there's no, like, I'm just thinking like from a purely cash flow mindset. Hey, if I have X amount of recurring revenue every month, I can plan out my cash flows. I can plan out the bills, the people. If I want to hire somebody new, I can plan for that. But in this uncertain cash flow, how do you plan out for all these expenses?
Good question. So to be honest, we are counting on a lot more businesses to sign up with us. It might not be as secure as a retainer, but we are seeing a lot more volume. So it's not really a concern we have. We're also quite lean as a business. We don't have that many hires. We have 4 full-timers that are core team members, and each one of them does a lot of great, amazing work. And the rest is freelance.
And do you perhaps feel that the lean nature of it and like doing this with a very small team, freelancers and everything, do you feel like in the long run it's going to affect the scalability of the business?
No, I don't think that at all, because this is how all businesses are going. They're going on this trajectory. You see, a lot of successful businesses didn't have any employees, yet they were able to succeed, they were able to disrupt and create a lot of change. For me, I think, and this is something more of a pattern that I've seen across different businesses as well, is all you need to worry about really is creating that traction and filling that gap. And the rest follows. You can figure out the resources later. It doesn't matter. These are details. The most important thing is just to create the demand to solve a problem and create sales. And I think this is the main problem that people need to actually work around or to figure out, is how to create that demand, how to create these sales. The rest you figure out. Otherwise, you're not really an entrepreneur.
That's
you know
fair.
What I mean?
But I'm just thinking from a perspective, like if I don't have recurring revenue that I can forecast on an Excel sheet, my immediate thought process is like, how would you value the company? Because the valuation should come out from the revenues, right?
Yeah.
Right. This becomes a concern over a period of time, right?
Yeah, valuation isn't my strong suit. Let me be honest.
Because like, I'm just like, I was going through the profile, I was asking Ghazala a lot of questions about like how this works, how that works, how this works. And like the immediate finance brain in my goes like, okay, where is the valuation going to come from? Because fluctuating, because what happened, like I'm thinking like, because your revenue is no longer a factor of number of clients and it's not 2xing, 3xing, the valuation becomes a problem, right? And over a long run,
it's not consistent.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. But you'd be very surprised to know that this lack of consistency is present across different agencies as well, even the ones that operate on a retainer model. So the way the market is here in the UAE is clients really expect a lot of creativity. So you barely see the same agency working with the same client for a very long period of time. Usually a client will go to a different agency every couple of months, right? Because they want innovative ideas, they want new fresh energy, right? And people get lazy, all right? It is what it is, you know, especially if you retain people and you tell them, okay, here's your retainer, they get lazy. They stop putting in the work. So most clients, even the ones that have like multi-brands, that they have many brands they're managing, they'll give one brand to one agency, the other brand to another agency to keep that creativity flowing. So that instability you're talking about, it has nothing to do even with performance PR. It's ever present. It's everywhere, you know? It's more so with people accepting retainers.
And what happens in the case that a publication says that, hey, we only do paid partnerships and things? So in that case, what happens to the
We
performance? Does it get added to the price or?
No. We don't work with paid. We just inform the client, and if the client wishes to pursue it, they can pursue it as well.
Okay. So if they pursue it, what happens? Do you get a fee on the success, or do you?
We're not very much involved. Of course, we have different arrangements with different clients, so it depends on the arrangement we have with each client.
Okay, fair. And I've also noticed that you have like sort of a hybrid model as well, like a traditional plus performance
Yes.
model. Like, how does that work? How do they pay the retainer? Is the retainer on a premium because you're doing performance based, or
Yeah.
is the performance marked up higher?
I really love that you've done your research, honestly. Thank you so much. And so I'll tell you more about this model. Okay, this is a very interesting one. I would say this is a balance, right? It's a balance between the traditional PR model that we all know, right? And the performance PR model. So how does it work? The client pays a certain fee per month, let's say 3,000 for the sake of this explanation, for a lot of the admin work that happens every month, but also a lot of the strategic work that happens. You know, it could be like PR strategy, could be some copywriting. It depends on what the client wants. Let's call these services non-performance based services, because the copy will be written. All right, it's not like coverage where it might be secured or might not be secured. This is, you know, more for clients that they want all of that monthly partnership, monthly proactiveness coming from our side, more ideation coming from our side. Then you have a separate fee applied based on performance. So let's say we pitch this press release this month and only 2 media pick it up. They'll only be invoiced these 2 media. And again, next month, if we pitch another press release, right, the copywriting is already included in that base fee from the traditional aspect of that model.
Okay.
And the additional links will be built again as per the other media links secured on that specific month.
And do you have pricing in terms of, hey, tier 1 is priced this much, tier 2 is priced this much, and rest all is priced differently? Or
yes,
or is it like a publication by publication pricing?
No. It's not publication by publication. It's based on the tier. So whether it's a tier A publication or a tier B publication. Of course, a different price will apply to tier A publication.
Okay. And now this is where my brain's flipping a little bit. I would, just correct me if I'm wrong, I would imagine Cosmo is tier A and so is College Times. Would I, if I'm a lifestyle brand, isn't it more valuable for me to be on Cosmo than on College Times? Then doesn't it make a little bit of a difference in the fact that why am I paying the same price for both of these?
Yeah, I know. I agree. So the tier A's and tier B's will differ for each client, of course. So each client will get a different media list. Same as how we do pitch proposals for clients. We do the exact same process, right? We figure out all the target media list. All of this is done for free. And then the client chooses which ones he or she likes. And based on that, we start the pitch process.
All right. And how long do you take to prepare these pitch and everything? Like, how long does your BD work take in general?
Not very long. You know, since we launched performance PR, it's actually gotten a lot shorter. One of the things that has really helped was launching this performance PR, because in the past, when we used to pitch in the traditional mindset, you know, we would get these RFPs and then we create these huge decks, the huge PowerPoint.
I've seen the decks.
Yes, you have.
They're massive.
They're massive decks. Yeah. With a lot of ideas, by the way.
I would shoot myself just reading it.
Yes, yeah. They're very long and they have a lot of creativity in them. Sometimes we used to involve our designers to create a lot of nice activation mock-ups and all of that. And yeah, I mean, the success rate wasn't the best, I would say. We have been burned sometimes as well. Like we would see our ideas come to life, but they weren't with us, right? With other agencies. So a lot of that happens, actually. You get ghosted after you've went ahead and prepared a 2-week, you know, presentation, so many slides, amazing work being done. So it's something that I'm happy that we're not doing that anymore. And I'm happy that our BD has become a lot easier. For me right now, my mindset is, okay, the USP is very clear. So we don't need to spend 2-3 weeks pitching because the USP is clear.
Okay. And what happens when, again, I'm thinking of all the worst things that could happen, right? I've seen like National Day laid off quite a bit of people. Gulf News is barely running on people, right? There are these publications that are dying, right? What happens in an environment where there are no more publications? Like, would it completely change the business model? Because I would imagine back in the day, like getting to College Times might be hard, but now going and like getting in touch with Love in Dubai or like one of these Watsons and everything has become a lot more easier. So what happens to a PR firm in general, traditional performance? What happens to this PR firm in general when these things, in an event where these things die off?
Yeah, all PR agencies would suffer in a situation like this for sure. And they have to find other avenues to create income, whether it's through influencer marketing, social media. You know, a lot of PR agencies are now like integrated marketing agencies as well. They do everything. They do also like, branding, design. Like there's a lot of agencies doing amazing work that has nothing to do with PR. So I wouldn't worry about that. But for sure, it would be a problem for everyone, right? Not only for people operating on a performance PR basis.
And I've seen a couple of these ads, like there's a guy who comes in, we can promise you coverage on Forbes, this, that, you only pay on this. So when you probably thought of it, it might be an innovative thing, but it is quite picking up steam in the region, right? Like the performance PR. Do you feel like when there are too many of these performance PR companies and agencies doing performance PR, do you feel like the competition is going to be so excessive because everybody's working on a very sales quota based model, right?
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself, or how do you see yourself changing or adapting to an environment that's extremely competitive?
Yeah, performance PR is not new and we did not create it. It has been around. But I think that we marketed it differently. The marketing that went behind it and the storytelling and all of that, we are PR people at core. So we know how to sell things. And really the why is what matters with us. So I wanted to make that why very clear on my personal channels, on our company channels. And I think this is why it really stuck with the Dubai crowd more than other models did. Even though they were also performance PR based. I would be happy to see other agencies also follow this model, this performance PR model. And I think that wherever you see profit and wherever you see gaps being filled and success and happiness and joy, people will want in on that action. There's nothing wrong with that.
And it's also like a sort of a chicken and an egg situation over here, right? Like what comes first, the publications priorities for their audience, or your PR's clients, PR agencies clients first, right? How do you, I'm trying to phrase this question properly, like what do you do in general to align these two objectives together? Because I would imagine like, hey, College Times is writing a story about schools, and you have a school, another agency has a school, another agency has a school, another agency has a school, and all of them are working on a performance marketing basis, right? So for College Times to choose your client over another client, what is that incentive? How do you tailor your pitch to College Times, or whatever the media
that's a really good question. Honestly, when it comes to marrying those benefits, like the benefit of the publication, but also the benefit of the client, that's really important. And I think that's also why a lot of PRs can't guarantee coverage. The first thing, when you sit with a PR agency today, any PR agency, all right, they will tell you we cannot guarantee the specific publication. They will say this to you. Any agency, at least in the contracts and the legal and all of that. So at the end of the day, the way it works is they're gonna come up with a story that they think will work with the publication, but also with the client. They'll go ahead, they'll pitch it, and then the editor, if they feel like this resonates with their audience, if they feel like this can be of added value to the audience, then they will accept it. And even then, after you submit collaterals, there's a big probability that the editor is not going to end up covering that story. Maybe she or he gets busy. Like we've all, as PR professionals, we have gotten ourselves into situations like this sometimes, where like we tell the client, good news, we've secured this feature, like on Gulf Business, right? And then like the editor will ghost us, and then we never hear back from the editor until she needs something like 2-3 months later. It happens a lot. So, I forgot what I was saying or the point I was trying to prove. But yes, marrying these two benefits is really important. And because it's difficult to marry these two benefits, because it's so difficult and challenging and so much might come up in the process, I think coverage, paying for coverage secured is the best option for everyone.
And what happens on the flip side? Let's say the story gets published, everything's beautiful, but the spokesperson from your client says like, hey, this is a no-go.
Yeah, it's happened as well. And it's not a good situation to be in either. We try to as much as possible to be on the client side and to try to understand why they don't want to partake in it. There needs to be a valid reason, and as the PR professionals and as the partner to the client, we need to give the proper advice to the client. It's bad for the relationship with the client. The editor or the magazine might never publish anything about them again, right? So it's our duty to just tell them what the consequences are, but it is their decision at the end of the day.
And you have an added layer of problem because it's performance PR, right? In this situation, do you invoice them or not?
We haven't had a situation like this happen
Hopefully
before.
you don't.
Yeah, it's not a good situation to be in. No, we haven't had a situation like this before, especially not after we launched performance PR. But I think clients wouldn't really do this when they're working on a performance PR basis because they know that we're only getting paid for coverage secured. And knock on wood, all our clients have been so happy with our work. So they also don't want to ruin that relationship with us.
That's fair. The other like another thing that I constantly hear from PR professionals, PR agency owners, or Ghazala now and then is that there is a phrase that goes around, and I just want to get your clarity on that because you are a business owner as well, right? Everybody says PR is dead, quote unquote, right? Do you think PR is dead?
I've never heard someone say PR is dead.
I've heard so many people say it.
Wow, okay.
It's fascinating how many people have said. I've heard Ghazala say it like 5 times a day. Like group chats flooding with like anything bad happens, like Ghazala types in the group chat. Like
I think yes, old PR is dead, right? The old school PR is dead. But today, even when you post on LinkedIn and it goes viral, that's PR. You know what I mean? PR doesn't need to be a channel. It doesn't need to be a newspaper. Yes, old PR is dead, writing a press release and sending it out and then going to bed. That's not PR anymore. So yes, I agree. Old PR is dead, but new PR is eventful and has so much opportunity. Today, you can pick up a phone and you can be a PR king. You know what I mean? You don't need to even have that PR background. You just need to have the PR mindset to know how to market stuff, understand human psychology. So I think PR is evolving and it's flourishing and it's getting a lot of new avenues for young professionals to explore.
And if as an amateur, that just sounds to me like marketing, right? Like, so how would it differ from marketing if everything's social and if everything's on LinkedIn and things like, where do you draw the line between what is PR and what is marketing?
Yeah, like marketing would be using your own channels, right? Your own Insta, your own Facebook. But then PR is other people saying these things about you, right? It's one thing to say, I'm amazing, but it's another thing to have the best publication in town say you're amazing. So this is the only difference.
So it's more like third party opinion more than.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's why people use PR to build their reputation, to build their brand, because it holds that value when someone else is saying things about you. That's why people ask for testimonials.
And there's also that trend in UGC content and things, right?
Yeah. So UGC is a huge part of PR.
And another side of it is also influencer based things, right? A lot of people, I consume content. I know, hey, this person's an influencer, she probably got paid. And now there are features on Instagram and things to say this is a paid collab, paid partnership, everything. But I would imagine if my mom saw the same thing, she wouldn't understand that this is an influencer being paid to influence things.
Yeah.
So would you say influencer falls in the marketing camp of things or the PR camp of things?
Influencers, yeah, I mean, it depends how they're being leveraged. If you're working with an influencer to promote a brand, it's PR. If it's a day-to-day kind of lifestyle influencer showing her day-to-day, what she's doing, using her socials, it falls maybe more under social media. But I do see what you're saying. I think PR has a role to play in everywhere. Like this is PR, right? Me presenting myself in front of you today, the way I'm dressed, the way I'm speaking, the way I said hi to you, all of this is PR. Because next time when someone asks you about me, and they ask you, how is she? What's her personality like? You're going to know what to say. So PR is everywhere.
So Never thought about it that way. Let's take a step back, right? Let's take a step back from your business or the PR side of things, and let's talk about you.
All right.
How does your day to day look like?
Day to day. So I love my routine. I
Mm.
wake up every day, not specifically at any specific time. I go to the gym every day. I do maybe 1, 2 hours, depends on the mood. Take my shower, have my daily matcha. Then I have my lunch and I get a bit of work done. By 5, I'm at the gym again. It used to be a walk outdoors, but now it's gym because of the weather. And maybe meet with friends in the evening or get a little bit more work done if I'm falling short.
All right. And I've never tried matcha. Should I try matcha?
Yes, it's amazing.
I,
Matcha
I,
is
I every time I looked at matcha, it just feels like overpriced herbal
it's
tea.
delicious. It's so good, really. And it's not overhyped. You don't like it?
I've seen it. Like I'm not buying it. I like the black coffee.
Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it.
Zero. Okay.
Yeah, that's
you should try it.
Where would you suggest matcha from?
Rina Cafe is amazing in Tilal Al Ghaf. It's lovely.
Oh.
One of my favorite places. Or Tasha's in Al Barsha is a great one. Pete's in Dubai Hills Mall.
Okay.
None of these are my clients, by the way.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to try one of them. Tilal Al Ghaf, right? What is it called?
Tilal Al Ghaf.
What's the coffee shop's name?
Arena Cafe.
Arena.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that out. And when did you start Cameo Comms?
I started Cameo Comms around 5 years ago.
Okay. And what was that? What was your mindset when you started a business instead of just working in an agency, continue working in an agency, climb up the ladder? What was that push for you to get entrepreneurial?
I'm a very practical person, okay? And I've always wanted to open something of my own. And I knew that the only expertise I had was in marketing.
Mm.
So agency was the obvious choice for me. And this is why I launched an agency.
And I've noticed that you didn't come from a PR background academically, right? It's just something you realized you had a passion for later, right?
Exactly.
What was that about? Like, I know what it's about, but I want you to tell me what's about. Like,
yeah, so my first job was in Mindshare. I worked there as a media planner, which I wouldn't say is PR, is more on the media side. Then I went to another agency called Traffic, and that was a little bit more on the PR side. I was handling anything that had to do with influencers, media, but also a little bit of social media. It was a very diverse role. After that, I worked with a friend of mine who owns a group of restaurants, and I was heading all the PR, all the social media as well. And this is where I got a lot more into PR, into networking, connecting with editors, getting to know them on a personal level. And then COVID hit, and she was closing down, and we wanted to maintain our working relationship. So she said, you can still work with us, but we can't pay you the same amount. And she had known about my goals to open my agency. So she said, if you want, you can start freelancing with other people and I can be your first client.
Mm.
And this was the opportune moment for me to open my business. So that's exactly what I did.
And you come from a background in advertising and marketing, right? Was your thought process getting into that as an academic field? Like, were you influenced by Mad Men and stuff, or was it just something?
No, honestly, like I didn't want to do any of this marketing stuff. I wanted to be a lawyer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I wanted. But it's complicated. It takes a lot more time. I was from Lebanon and you have to learn it in Arabic. For me, the ideal job, what I really wanted to do, my dream was to be a lawyer, but in English. Like
Okay.
Suits, not like Mad Men.
Because I've seen Mad Men, and like I briefly considered a career in advertising because I saw Mad Men.
They make it look so cool.
It's so cool, but
Yeah.
the guy is depressed and he has relationship problems. I was
No,
like,
but it is cool. Like when back in my ad days, it was cool. Like we would go, all of us go to pitches, and each person was doing something, and we all had our different personas. So it was cool.
Okay. And what was that like? What was that experience like? Do you guys like prepare like these collaterals, like where the art guy prepares the art?
Yeah, honestly, my agency days were amazing. I have to say, especially in Traffic, because it wasn't a huge agency, so it was a more of a smaller agency. And I got to meet a lot of talented people, like a really talented copywriter, art director, head of content, a lot of interesting and talented people that I had the chance to learn from. So I think one of the things I miss a lot is that collaboration. because I don't get to collaborate that much today. We are a team of 4 people, so it's great to be able to talk and all of that. But we work remotely most days. We meet like once a week,
Mm.
right? And when we do meet, it's very structured. It's not to just sit and talk and blab. So yeah, I do miss these days a lot.
And would you suggest that a young person watching this pursue an academic, like pursue academically like PR, or would you suggest, hey, pursue anything and come to PR if you really feel the, like you felt that there was a connection there, you loved connecting with people and all these things? Would you suggest your part, or like academically pursue communications and come up the ranks?
That's a really good question. It depends on the personality of the person. I'm a very resourceful person, so I was able to learn PR on the go alone, by asking for templates from other people, PR professionals who were friends of mine who were working with me. I was also very fortunate that my elder brother has 20 years experience in PR. He's
Mm.
also my partner in the business at the moment. So he was a contributing factor for me. He's worked on leading accounts, so that was a huge part of my success. um, so I would say it depends on the personality of the person. If you're someone who's not very resourceful, right, you like to stick to what's in front of you, of course pursue like an academic uh, co-
Path,
course
yeah.
or path in PR. But if you think you can learn it on your own, yeah, there's plenty of resources online, there's courses and all of that, so it depends on the person.
And I'm assuming like when you started the business, a key consideration would have been how you finance that operation, right?
Yeah.
In your case, what was your path to financing the operation?
I didn't really have a plan. I just, as I told you, didn't have a job at the time. I still had that freelance client who used to be my employer. I had some support from family, which was great. But I'll be honest, money was a problem for me at one point, especially that I had a mortgage on a house and I was doing a lot, right? So I just threw myself and I'm like, yeah, I'll figure it out. But it took some time to figure it out. And I had to make a lot of lifestyle compromises. I hustled through all of my 20s. I didn't travel a lot. I didn't really, do all these things that I wanted to do or that I saw my friends doing. But I wouldn't change a thing going back because really, I do get a lot of joy from running my business, from getting that freedom, that financial freedom that I worked really hard for.
And this is like a flip side question, right? Like I'm with you on the camp that, hey, so much freedom in running your own business. You take ownership of your time and things. But on the flip side, when I have conversation with other people, a common thing that like older people, right? Like I'm talking about anywhere about 40 years old, what they say is that, hey, a 9 to 5 is beautiful in the sense that I get paid on time.
Yeah.
I have a very descriptive thing of what I have to do. I work exactly this hour to this hour. And if I work an hour extra, I get overtime pay. If I work on a Saturday, I get overtime pay. If I work on a Sunday, I get
Yeah.
an overtime pay,
Yeah.
which is not the luxury you get by running a business, right? Would you say that all these things, like if you had these two options, would you still pick up entrepreneurship over the 9 to 5?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm not the type of person that likes that stability. And I've always been into entrepreneurship. Like,
Mm.
as a kid, I used to go to my dad's office. I used to take a briefcase with nail polish inside. And I used to, sell these nail polish services to his employees, right? Or sometimes I would take like papers and pens and I would ask people if they wanted me to draw pictures for them. And I would charge them each like 10 Lebanese liras.
Okay.
So I've always had that entrepreneurial mindset. I've always wanted to sell and make money. As a child, like as a kid, imagine, like sometimes I would even garage sales, right? Smallest example. Every garage sale, I was there. The first one set up with all my dad's toys and my mom's toys and all the stuff they didn't need. And sometimes like antiques that were very expensive and they didn't know I would take them and steal them and sell them for like nothing, very like close to zero. So I always loved making my own money. It's something I enjoy so much. It's a big part of my personality. So even if I get like the shiniest, best job on earth, I can't go there because even if it's good for me, it's something that can further add that stability and all of that. It's not something that would make me happy.
That's fair. Um, Moving to a little bit of a different topic, we see a lot of these generative AI and all these technologies coming in where, ChatGPT can write a press release.
Yeah.
ChatGPT can do a lot of the collateral work.
Yeah.
To a point that now the new model is generating videos,
Yes.
right? Where do you see yourself and the company moving forward with these AI technologies coming through?
Yeah, chat has been very helpful. We love chat. We talk to chat every day. She's our friend. She's our bestie. She's here for emotional support, for work, for everything. I think anything can be facilitated, and she can help. She's a female, all right, and she can help us with a lot. But the one thing she can't help with is media relations, right? So I think the future now is, especially with AI, and the real strength of a PR agent is having those media connections to get out there and to build those connections. So we used to see a lot of different PR experts, but each one having their different like skill set, right? Someone might be a little bit better at copy, at storytelling, someone a little bit more at media relations, right? You have different roles, different jobs within the same organization. So I think right now there will be more focus on media relations because that's the one thing you can't really automate.
And how hard is that media relation? So if I were to quit my job and join a PR agency, how would I build that connections and network?
It's very hard. It's not easy at all. Honestly, because it takes a lot of time to build that trust with someone. So it takes a lot of time. You need to invest a lot and have no expectations in return. You need to keep investing in the relationship with zero expectations. And you need to have a helping mindset, right? Not just think, okay, how can this editor serve me? How can this editor help me? No, you need to keep helping, so that one day you're top of mind when they are looking to feature someone.
And do you perhaps feel like, now this is a question I ask Ghazala a lot as well, okay? When you're going and nurturing these relationships with the editors and the journalists and everything, do you perhaps feel that they know what you're trying to do because you're a PR agent and they know you're going to come to them one day? Like, do you feel like that inflates their ego a little bit?
Of course, but that's life as well. Even with friends, with family, with everyone, it's give and take. So you need to keep serving people so that they can help you as well. You don't do it on the spot. You don't do it with that mindset, like, give me back. No, you don't do it like that. But this is human nature, right? So for me, what has really served me, even on a personal level, is to always give without expecting anything in return. And this is the mindset I live by. So for me, I get joy in giving. And so I have that mindset and I apply it with friendships, with family, with professionally even, and it serves you in the long run.
And if you didn't think of PR and if the industry of PR didn't click for you and the lawyer was completely like, you haven't done that, what would you have done from that agency experience? What would have been your career path if you didn't pursue PR?
Good question. So many different things. I was very artistic as a child, so maybe something in the arts. I also love healing and wellness, so maybe even something like yoga instructor. Could be so many different things. There's not one specific one. Maybe even dancing, because I used to love dancing as a kid. Could be really anything that brings me joy and can sustain me.
Awesome. That's all the questions from me. Again, thank you so much for coming in. It was a pleasure. I hope I didn't ask hard questions.
You were amazing. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the chat as well.
Yeah, because I was just like, I was sitting with Ghazala asking what questions to ask and everything. And I was just figuring out, tell me whatever is wrong with your company and I'm going to probably work around it.
Wow, that's funny. No, but this is good. This is great. And I think like this is an interesting one because it's something different. You're not like interviewing some other agency founder.
Yeah. It's also like what really struck me was that performance based, right? Like back of my head, I'm going, what happens if there's one bad month? What happens if that 1 month turns 2?
It's very bold
3,
for sure. Like
4, right? Like that's an absurd amount of risk I'm taking. Right. Then the problem becomes like, how am I going to value it later?
No risk, no reward, by the way. You need to take these risks to, because now agencies are like, there's so many agencies, like she'll tell you the same thing, doing the same thing, speaking the same lingo, doing the same pitch decks. You need to do something different.
That's fair. And that's the value to the customers as well, right? Like it's ultimately, if your customer doesn't want to buy it, then all of this is kind of. Yeah. But just a quick question on that. So when you do performance PR, let's say a traditional company charges X amount for a retainer. Yeah. So would that mean like your success fee or the fee that you invoice on success is that a significantly higher margin compared to the traditional retainer?
No, because like honestly, from a monetary perspective, you're not paying that much less or that much more. The only difference is that you're just paying per link. So it's like you like it's not about money, it's about control, right? It's about giving the client that control and telling him you're paying for example, because you set Khalij time. So let's apply this example. They know exactly what they're getting.
Mm.
You know, with other agencies, they pay the 6K a month, for example, but they don't know what they're gonna get. And at the month end, they just get a bunch of links. And God knows if there's going to be Khalij times or not in there. So it's a lot of, there's no control. So like the misconception with my model is everyone thinks it's about money. It's not, because you're not saving that much money. It's more about control, and it's more about also not like spending on a retainer in August if you have nothing to talk about in August, right? It's about like being able to like have that flexibility to do PR whenever you want to do PR.
Okay. And no, the question from me is that if this is the model, you're offering control, you're offering like success-based fee, you're offering that. Don't you feel like you have an opportunity to charge significantly higher compared to a traditional model?
Yeah, I know. But then, you know, the whole idea of helping people and helping startups and SMEs and all of that, it doesn't apply anymore. It's supposed to be accessible, and it's all about encouraging new people to work with us, you know, because like when you come to someone who's never done PR before and like they own this small little shop and you tell them you only pay for coverage secured, you know, they're more incentivized to work with you because now there's that trust, you know, even if they end up paying the same amount, but they feel like, okay, at least I'm paying for something that I want.
And you can completely ignore this if you want, but is it fair for me to ask what would be your charges for tier 1, tier 2?
Yeah, I can share these informations with you.
Okay. Yeah, it's just out of curiosity.
No worries. It's public information.
Can you give
I
me
don't have them right now, but I'll share it with you.
Okay, awesome. Again, thank you so much for coming.
Thank
It's
you
been
so
a pleasure.
much. Thank you.